Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Touch of You Talk Show. My name is Elder Sheila Black, and guess what? I have a couple of very special guests with me today in the person of Pastor Rashawn Bay and Miss Felicia Hill. How are you today?
Doing
Great.
well, doing well, doing well.
Okay, I often ask my guests how long have we known each other. Pastor Rashawn, I know it's only been about 5 minutes for us, but Felicia,
Never in a day, my whole entire life.
your whole entire life. Yes, yes. To God be the glory. Felicia's my niece, cousin. She's actually my cousin, but she's my niece, and her dad and I are first cousins. So it is such a blessing to see the kids in the family grow up and to become business owners and to just walk on their own and do their own thing. So I am just super excited about this interview. So Pastor Rashawn, tell me about you. Where are you from?
I am originally from Oakland, California, born and raised, translated into Mississippi, and then recently just located here next door to you in Dallas, Texas. And man, we're excited to be on this podcast, and we thank you for inviting us to come out.
Absolutely. And tell me about you, Felicia.
Well, y'all already know me, what my audience does. Felicia Hill, owner of GPA Tax Service. I've lived in Dallas my whole life. I am known as Miss Square Business when it comes to business because I believe in doing business how it should be and how it should go.
Miss Square Business. I like that. I like that. And trust me, guys, she is my tax preparer. So if you need your taxes done, GPA Tax Service is the place to go. She has been doing my taxes for several years, and believe you me, this girl don't play when it come down to her taxes. So if she wasn't doing what was right, guess what? She would not be doing it. So she can definitely be trusted to do taxes. So I thank and praise God for that. How long have you been doing taxes, Felicia?
Oh my goodness, over 20 years. I started out doing corporate taxes and now I went solo doing taxes in 2006. And then in 2011, after I closed my first convenience store, I got serious about doing taxes. And there was a need in the community where, people were going to different tax offices and they were getting bamboozled. And what I mean by bamboozled, they were getting audited because of erroneous tax returns being filed or people just not filing their taxes, leaving things off. So they would come to me for help. So that's how I started out. Even with my own mom, my mom got audited by the IRS. I think it was 2009, and we were going to one of the big three, and the lady had stolen her dependents. Not only did she steal her dependents, she filed a tax return and got my mom's return. So we had a tax advocate, helping us out at the time, but they wasn't doing nothing. So of course, like I said, my background is in accounting and taxes, and so I took it upon myself to help her from 2009 to 2013. It took to clean up that mess that she was in, but she wound up getting all her money back. Close to about $20,000 at the time that the IRS was holding for her, but she did get it back. So I guess I can be known for helping people clean up messes. Tax debt resolution is actually a new thing that a new service also that I will be offering in my business. So if you need help, come see me. I got you.
So what did you call that? Tell me what that is again.
Tax debt resolution. So if you owe the IRS any money over $10,000, I can help you with lower amounts too. But especially if you owe the IRS over $10,000, come see me.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. So tell me about your background, Pastor Rashawn, as far as business.
Okay. So as far as business, I run a financial firm and also insurance agency. I have over 360 licensed professionals all across the country. Um, and I also have our office here, our main big office here in Carrollton, Texas. And I'm an author of a book, just published a book. So it's getting ready to come out. It's called The Business of Belief: How Your Faith, Your Willpower, and Habits Shape Your Success. So it shows a lot about what I went through and how I failed forward to be able to get where I am today. And I call it a mentor on paper. So a lot of times, a lot of people are trying to figure out business, figure out what they want to do in life, and they don't have the skills or the willpower, the know-how, or what software or whatever to use. So I have all my secrets and nuggets in there on what I use to build the empire we have today, that saves people a lot of money and save people a lot of time from just getting bad advice. But as a pastor and motivational speaker, touch people all over, now the world with the internet, to be able to inspire people that they can change their life. And so that's pretty much what we do.
Yay, yay. So we are here to talk about the untold secrets of building wealth. So let's get started. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I can go first.
All right. So what's the untold secret about building wealth? What's the first step? What's the first step to building wealth?
The first step to building wealth is to get educated. A lot of us go out and get an education, but we don't have a financial education. You got people that's got financial degrees, but the education is not there. And so being educated helps a person be confident in making a decision. That's anything in life. And when you're educated, you can't unlearn what you've learned. Nobody can take it from you. What you know for yourself, nobody can take it from you. And so one of the untold secrets is that wealth, majority of the United States wealth is built from insurance. Insurance has been out since 100 BC. It's one of the oldest industries that ever exist. And a lot of times our conception is you get it when you die. You get it when you die. Get a burial. Back in the day, it was a 59-year-old Caucasian male knocking on your door with a briefcase, sitting across the kitchen table with your parents, giving them a burial only policy, $10,000, $8,000 policy. And so really, when you look at the wealth system, insurance has created the most millionaires out of anybody in the industry, or any movie, any type of music, any type of entertainment. And so the reason why it's powerful is because you don't have to be rich to become rich. You don't have to come from money to get money. It's all about position. Right. And one of the things that we've been taught how to work hard for money, but we never was taught how to make money work hard for us. And so as a people in the dark that don't know, it's so easy to see how we're in the dark, because if you look at the people that have trained us to be successful, they're not really successful themselves. So how can someone that is, and I'm not knocking the teachers or anything like that, but if you think about it, if they knew how to make $1 million, they would already have it themselves. So how can they teach us to be able to do that when they're not even equipped in them same lanes? So we've just been taught to be a professional employee instead of learning how to invest, learning how to make our money work, learning how to position ourselves, learning how to save on taxes, learning how to prepare against market losses, learning how to have compounding interest, and learning how to access lifetime guaranteed income. So those are the key things that I feel that's missing, whether a person is rich or whether a person is poor. Still, this is a missing area because it wasn't wrapped up in financial institutions. It isn't wrapped up in banks or jobs. It's wrapped up in something that we never would have expected, which is life insurance contracts.
So Felicia, tell me the importance or the stigma that we've had in our culture as it relates to insurance. It's like a lot of times we don't even have it.
Right. Well, a lot of times we don't have it because some people look at insurance as is benefiting the person. I guess not so much the beneficiary, but the policyholder. They feel like that, oh, they're gonna have all this money off my debt. And I hate to say it, but my dad is one of them. He will just not, get a policy. I have to literally take his money and make sure that he have, something to be buried with when he died, because he's one of those ones that has that mentality that if he dies, it's going to be benefiting somebody. We're going to use his money to celebrate or buy cars and houses, but that's not what insurance is for. It's literally an income protector. If you marry and one of the spouses die and maybe they were the sole breadwinner, then that insurance could take over their income and, take care of the children that you leave behind. Not only that, the debt that you leave behind. Like when my husband's mom passed away, we didn't even know that, we incurred all this debt until after she died. Everything looked good while she was here. But once she passed away, we was buried in tax debt. on properties and just all kind of stuff. But just think about if you had coverage and enough coverage, how it could take care of those that burden, those financial burdens. But if not, then those burdens could linger for almost a lifetime if you're not careful. So it's just important to have insurance for income protection.
So tell me the types of insurance that you offer, or that we're talking about tonight.
Okay. So there's several types. You have term insurance, which gives you a ability to utilize it between 10 years, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years, even high as 35 years. It was built around mortgage protection because a mortgage is normally 30 years. So it allows a person to be able to protect their assets during the time period that they're in debt to when they're out of debt. And then, but it's so many strategies you can use for term to also give you a way of income replacement, because the term policies also have the living benefit that allows you to access up to 85 to 90% of your money while you're still alive if you get sick with a condition like cancer, heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, so forth. Same thing that happened with Jamie Foxx. That would have activated it, because as you can see, he's still alive. As you can see, Damar Hamlin, the football player, had a sudden cardiac arrest, is still alive. So a lot of people have that, and you can get an affordable benefit for pennies on the dollar because of the term. You can leverage getting something high for something very low. You've got ROP, which is a policy that allows you to get a refund if you don't use it in the 30-year term. So if you don't use it in the 30-year term, everything that you put in, you get a refund check cut back to you. You also have a whole life, which is a policy that goes all the way to 100. It gives you a permanent death benefit, so it's guaranteed until 100. You've got index universal life, which gives you the flexibility of growing your money inside the policy tax-free and being able to leverage a low cost of insurance with a higher death benefit and living benefit, where you can borrow against your money and utilize it for infinite banking and tax shelters and lifetime income. You've got children's policies where kids from 0 years old all the way up to 17 can get a permanent policy instead of just being a rider on somebody else's policy for only $25,000. They can have their own individual and be able to get covered, just like the kids that went to prom a month and a half ago. In the Tesla picture, you see that they didn't make it back home. They had to do a GoFundMe. But it's amazing how in today's society, not saying them, but in today's society, I see so many parents paying $60, $70, $80 a month for their child's cell phone bill so they can get on TikTok and do videos on Instagram, but we don't have a policy that's going to set them up to have generational wealth for the rest of their life. And then you got fixed index annuities, where you can leverage an insurance company to do a retirement plan to be able to transfer from 401ks, IRAs, mutual funds, and things like that to protect your money from losses and be able to generate a lifetime income. And then you got final expense, which helps a person that has pre-existing conditions, and being able to get them coverage when other companies will turn them down. We can cover people all the way up to 85 years old too, as well, when most companies stop at 70. And we got pre-existing policies that give people a more like guarantee to get approved, even if they're currently in a condition, to be able to cover them for up to 40,000. I mean, there's so many policies and so many strategies out there instead of just one or two ways. And that's why I like having options representing the top companies in America that's been out for close to 200 years. We represent all of them. So we have more options than just telling you that this is the best fit. If this company doesn't work out, we got this company. Giving the client what's best for them is always the perfect product. It's not about just trying to position them to say, I think this is good for you. We have to find out, what are they trying to accomplish? What's important to them? And that's how we can customize what's going to work for them by them picking it out because it matches their goals and their dreams and their vision.
Right.
All right, Pastor Rashawn, that's so much. It's like, how am I going to remember all of that?
They go back and watch the replay.
That, you know what? And this is the very first time that I've heard of some of these options. So, Felicia, could you just pick one of those options and elaborate, whichever one you want?
Well, I'll just talk about the term life. I know, back in the day, I worked at a company where, all they talk about is term life insurance. But to me, term life, I'm not going to say it's not good, because term life is good for people that, that's all they can get. But, why not give them that that whole life, or like he was talking about those what you call it, the fixed index annuities, give them something that will generate wealth for them, because term goes away at a certain period of your life. I know back then they were saying it went away at age 120, but like give them something that's going to be for a lifetime and that you can transfer to your kids that's going to grow and compound interest. Term don't do that. Or
So I never understood, like with term, what happens when the term is up with the money that you put in there?
Well, some companies, I think they reimburse the premium, or either they pay out the face value. But if you don't have those riders on there, then it just goes away.
Yeah, it expires and things. So that's why it just depends on the best fit. So a lot of times I see people that are in their 50s and they want like a 30-year term. Well, it makes sense, because how many people do you see at the funeral that's 80 and 90 years old? Not very many. So it's a greater chance to not outlive the policy. But if you have the living benefit on it too as well, I have seen a lot of people can experience a condition that doesn't kill them, and they still get a chance to access their policy, but they got it for such a cheaper rate. So it gave them an opportunity to afford to have a better future. So it just always depends on where the person is and how old they are to see if it makes sense. Because of course, a permanent policy is more expensive than a term. So sometimes a person takes the same money and get less coverage because they're trying to be permanent, but they still end up passing away between 60 and 70 years old. They could have got a term and got a whole lot more money. So it all depends on the person and how they're thinking. Because some people say, I live forever. My mom was 102. My uncle was 105. My grandma was 90. Then sometimes that might be the case. If they feel that strong, then go ahead and get what you feel comfortable with.
So is there a policy for someone that's 102?
No.
No.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, because I do have a friend, her grandmother, her nana is 105. So that means she doesn't have any insurance.
Pre-needs through a funeral home would be the best shot.
Wow.
Pre-needs. Or I've seen people that do annuities or something that grows the money where the family can chip in and grow it, and hopefully 2 or 3 years they can have some kind of return on it where they can give them a little bit of boost to be able to use that as a death benefit. But I don't even think they can get an annuity at that age either.
So what do you say to the person like Felicia's dad that say, no, I don't want that insurance because they're going to take the money and they're going to party? How can you insure? I have this $200 million policy, which I don't, but I have a $2 million policy. How can I ensure that, my sons won't just take the money and run and just leave me somewhere to rot?
Well, you can set up a trust. You can set up a trust where it's ordered that the insurance makes the trust the beneficiary, and in the trust it has already set what you want it to do. Okay, when this person expires or passes away, the trust is going to get the money. Do not let them get this to do this or do that or whatever the case would be. Okay, make sure that they spend this much on the funeral. This person's going to get this person's going to get that. Make sure we pay this out, and they get the difference. The trust makes it where the right thing is going to be done with the money.
Is a trust the same thing as a will?
A trust and a will, very close to each other. The will is more of it's such a fine line, but just for time purposes, it's very close to the same. Very close to the same. One has a little bit more advantage. A trust has a little bit more advantage of more action and things while you're alive and being able to change some stuff and maneuver things. A will is kind of like, I'm leaving this behind. This they're going to have it, but the trust gives more action purpose and more protection purpose against legal things or divorces or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and in a will, the executors handle everything, and then in the trust, the beneficiaries are kind of controlled.
Right, there it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about the insurance that helps you to build wealth while you are alive. So can you just pick one of those that you're talking about, and let's expound on that?
Yeah, let's talk about the index fund. So the index policy is a insurance policy that doesn't expire until age 120, 121. That allows you to not only grow money inside the policy, um, returns average anywhere between 6 to 9% on average. Um, you're able to grow that money and also be able to store that money and withdraw it or borrow it without paying any taxes. So, according to IRS 7702 and 72E, nothing can be taxed on the gains or the withdrawals in the policy. It also comes with the death benefit where you're able to have additional money on top of your savings. So you have a choice to do an increasing where you're able to have both cash and death benefits separate so they both go to the person versus some people you can structure it to have where it's either or if you take money out, it lowers your death benefit. So depending on what the person's trying to do, you can do that. But here's the advantage of having the life insurance over banks, stock market, qualified plans, and real estate. Out of all of those industries or all those different setups, insurance is the only one that is liquid, meaning no matter how old you are, you don't have a IRS penalty before 59 and a half. It never loses money because it's an index fund, so it's not attached to the stock market. It doesn't have any taxes that you have to pay, so you're saving that 20 to 37% taxes. You're going to grow your money in the policy, and it's compounding interest, but you can also borrow against your money. And instead of getting charged interest like you would a bank trying to grow your money and say the trade-off is I'll report it to your credit, but you get a chance to borrow against your money. And even though you take the money out of the policy, the money that's taken out of the policy will still get a rate of return on it as if it's still in the policy. So you're talking about making your money work for you because they leverage your death benefit as collateral. And so if there is an outstanding loan on that where they've been paying you interest on it, they will subtract that from the death benefit in the event of you doing the loan. And then it also, with one of our carriers, they have the lifetime income benefit, which means at age 60, you're able to withdraw a certain amount for the rest of your life, no matter if there's money in there or not, until the day you die, which all those setups from banks, stock market, qualified plan, and real estate do not offer lifetime income. And pensions are now dying away and gone. So there's no more of that either.
So can you get that at age 59?
Yes. Yes, you can get that age 59 to even your age 32. You can get it at your age 32. You can get that. Sure.
So what kind of premium are we looking at? Is it different companies or is it just one particular company that you're dealing with as far as?
We have all types of companies. Matter of fact, our partner purchased almost 500 companies. So we got all the options. Everything is always going to be based on the person's budget and what they're trying to accomplish. So it's always affordable because we're working off of what a person can afford. And then whatever the results come from that, that's where we look at. Instead of trying to go for a goal and then telling you how much it costs, that puts you in an uncomfortable position. And then it puts you in a position where you can't maintain because at the time, yeah, everything's sounding good. But what if things go wrong? What if a car breaks down? What if this? So I'd rather set you up to something that even if the car breaks down, even if this happens, even if that happens, could you still afford it with this budget? They say, yeah, we're going to go with that.
Okay. So then it's like a monthly premium, or can you get it semi-monthly, weekly, or would it be monthly?
You can do it monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, and then you could do annual. And then you can also even set it up to do a lump sum of money and let it sit like that too as well.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So what else you want to tell me about?
I want to add something. I have a client that she's been fighting with the IRS actually because they taxed her death benefit from her husband. But insurance death benefits are tax free. So anybody out there, if you're getting taxed on that money, it's tax free. Fight them tooth and nail to not pay tax on their money because it definitely is a tax free benefit.
So is it the company that reported the money to the IRS?
I'm really thinking that it probably could have been a issue with preparation of her taxes, how they prepared it. But just for this purpose, anybody out there that get an insurance, I mean 1090, they shouldn't even be issuing 1099s for insurance death benefits. But if they do, just know that it's tax free. It's a tax free.
Okay. All right. So can you tell me, like, just hypothetical, what could be the lowest premium and what could be the highest premium?
So the lowest premium on an adult I've seen on average is about $25 to $30, and then unlimited on how much a person can do because it all just depends on them. But, if I were to say on average, what I see on a regular basis, and we've helped over close to 5,000 clients in the last couple of years. I say $30, and it can range as high as on just doing insurance, not doing the savings, $200, on the high side, uh, yeah, about that size.
Okay. All right. So what else have we not talked about that we should talk about?
Well, a lot of the issues that we face in the churches, in our neighborhoods, in the projects, and things of that nature is the lack of leadership. The lack of leadership and people who do know the way is not showing the way. We move out of these places and then we never come back. We never try to go back and get the people that are looking for us who have made it. And so I believe that one of the main issues is taking something like this that's not a traditional presentation in a church or traditional presentation standing on the street corner in the hood or traditional presentation at the family reunion and barbecue. I feel that this is probably the most relevant conversation we need to have instead of talking about the good old days and eating crawfish. A lot of times it's just having this conversation that can change a person's life. Is this type of conversation that can make a big difference? We go to school for 12 years, graduate high school, go to college for another 4 or 5 or 6 years. And this information that we have on this podcast can change people's life greater than the information that they learn, because everything is all about a direction. What is TV teaching us? What is music teaching us? What is the system teaching us? What is the government teaching us? All that plays a role in a person's mind and how we're shaped. If you look at, here's a prime example. When we were coming up, or when you were coming up, did you have your mother and father in the household?
No, just my mom.
Just your mom. What about you, Felicia?
Same.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question hypothetically. If you had your mom and dad in the household, when you asked your mom for money, what would she say?
Go ask your dad, probably.
Go ask your dad. So, as something small like that, look how it turned America to look at only the men and not look at the women.
Right.
That's how everything, it starts with something that you don't even think relates to what you're thinking about. But it's something like that has been proven as a statistic that made people always look to the man instead of looking at the woman saying she can have it too. And it's these type of things we've all been taught. Money doesn't grow on trees. Hey, wait till Christmas. And so what happens is a whole time you've been passed down, which was a habit of just speaking, but it became a training mechanism for us to start shaping our habits to say the same thing our mom said, the same thing our grandfather said, the same thing here. And that's what has to be broken in our community. It has to be somebody to sit down and say, okay, let's go back to your childhood and let's break that umbilical cord of you living in your past and let you know that today you can start living in your future. Today, you can start living in tomorrow instead of living in your yesterday. And so I appreciate calls like this because somebody's listening and they're about to give up. Somebody's listening and saying that I'm going through. Somebody's listening and saying that I don't even know how I'm going to pay my bills. Somebody's listening saying my whole life is jacked up. But this call today, I hope it gives somebody hope, because if you just change the way you think, it'll translate into what you believe, and it'll activate that faith that you have to do the impossible, which if you look at impossible is really spelled I'm possible. And that's what somebody has to take from this call today, that I'm possible and nothing is impossible, because I believe that God said through him, I can do all things, not some things. And even though he said all things work together, I got to look at the negatives work out for my good. And so regardless of what a person's going through that's listening tonight, is that it's working out for your good, because some of the lessons in life is not from winning. The best lessons in life is when you lost, your back's against the wall, your back's against the ground, you're crying at night, you're about to give up, your tank is low, your check engine light just came on, your credit is jacked up. Regardless of what it is, that is working for your good, because you have to have enough guts to say, this is the last time I'm ever going to go through something like this. You bit me one time, snake, but I'm not going to let the same snake bite me twice. I'm not going to let it bite me twice. And I'm telling you today, I ain't going to let this thing bite me twice, because I'm going to learn from this. And I'm going to.
Uh-oh, you went on mute.
And I'm going to find somebody that I'm going to learn from, that's where I'm trying to be, instead of being jealous, instead of being envious. If I need taxes done, hey, look, Felicia, hey, how you help me? Hey, look, I don't know. We got to get better at that. And I think if we get better at that, information can be received better, because what's different is usually what is good for you. What's bad, feeling bad, tasting like medicine, is usually good for you.
Right. Not only that too, I think that a lot of, preachers, not to be stepping on nobody preacher toes, leaders too in the community, everybody preaching prosperity, but nobody's really teaching true financial literacy. So many people, we drowning in information, but nobody's giving the true knowledge. People gatekeeping information, and that's not what this information was put here for. It was for us to share information freely, but these days everything is a charge. Some things gotta have a charge for, but then some things, should be given away free, like this podcast that we're doing tonight, talking about insurance and the importance of wealth building. A lot of people ain't talking about that. And so I just want to add that little piece in there. And Rashawn, you almost had me jump up and get my tambourine.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you, you pulled that out of my head, because that was the next thing I was going to say. How many times have people, they have the information, but then they want to make you pay for it? There has been times, I had thought about doing real estate investment. So then I would listen to these podcasts. And I remember one time I listened to a meeting for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then he said, after 45 minutes, he said, to get the more information, I need you to sign up for my class. I just bursted in tears. I'm like, this person right here, I mean, you try to act like you're giving me free information, but the only thing you're giving me is a link to sign up for your class. How in the world can you do this without charging people?
So our pay is not based upon the client. Our pay is based on the institution. So the institution pays us because they don't do advertisement. They don't do radio. They don't do commercials. So they pay us out of their advertising budget, so we can go ahead and help clients and be motivated to help clients, because of our compensation is very great. And so teaching is what reaches people. It's not about selling, it's all about telling. And so when we tell people about the issues and we tell people that there's a solution, people that have a problem and they see that there's a solution, they normally reach out to you and ask for the solution. So that's how we're able to help so many people and teach and travel and fly out and do things and not have the charge, because the institutions take care of us from their advertising budget.
You know what? And that's what made it so easy for me to become your mentee. Because, I've been in a bunch of different companies, but you made it so easy. And that's what I like. I don't like companies that everything is a fee. But you literally are taking me under your wing and teaching me exactly everything that you know, to be able to teach people that I know. And that's what I love about, not only this company, but your agency as well. So, yeah.
So I was trying to pull it up on my other computer. I was going to pull up growthwealth.com. So I'm leaving the floor open. Anything else you want to tell me?
Yes. Are you talking about growwealthtoday.com? So the only thing I can think of, at this moment is, for those that have any questions, anybody can drop in the chat right now. If there's any questions or anything that she can see that anybody needs, feel free to ask any questions. One thing I realize in this field is there's not enough representatives in this field. People say, well, what do I need to get into? Because here's another point. Right now we're in a recession. We're in a recession big time, and the reason why is cost of living is higher than the rise of income. Food is up, gas is up, rent's up, electricity's up, cars are high. Used cars are now more than what it costs to get a brand new car. And so income doesn't increase like that. Over 7 to 8% cost of living increases every year. So if you're the type that saves money in your mattress, if you're the type that saves money in the bank, if you're saving in the CD, cost of living is eating up your buying power because you're not getting anything higher than 2%. So if it's going up 8%, you're basically losing 6% of value every year. How do I know? Cost of rent is just as high as buying a house. And so you don't have an income problem necessarily as far as making more money. Your money is just not increasing fast enough at that job where cost of living always catches you. You're like, man, I'm making more money than I've ever made before, but I can't seem to save money because you have to keep spending it out as fast as you get it. And so in this time we're living in, it's also about positioning yourself to have a business, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be necessarily what we're doing, but have a business where you have control of giving yourself exponential growth instead of linear growth. Your efforts control how much you give yourself a raise instead of waiting for somebody to tell you you're doing a good job and giving you 10 more cents, 50 cents, a dollar. You're worth way more than a dollar. You're worth more than 50 cents. You're worth more than $5 extra because the more money you make, Felicia can attest to this, the more you go into a higher tax bracket. So it's a trick. You basically are going to get that ate up in taxes. You might even get less take home getting a raise than you would have been staying where you're at. And so we teach people that if you look at the Bible, Jesus never told nobody to go get a job. He told you to go to work. And since that time until the 1930s, nobody had a job. Everybody had their own business. And in the 1930s, when the Great Depression happened, Henry Ford had a factory and they had employees. And everybody said, well, you know what? We might as well get rid of our business, start working for them. And that's when that 9 to 5 started. It was more millionaires before the 1930s than it is today. I'm repeat myself again. There were more people making millions of dollars then, and we're making more money than we've ever made before as far as the value of the dollar, as far as the people's jobs. But we had more millionaires then than we have today. What's the difference? Because we're helping other people live their dreams. So it's all about living your dreams today. It's all about finding something that you can make your purpose and be able to change and control your life, because the whole part of having money is not to have money and worship money and love things. Money in the Bible says is the answer to all things. And so when you look at that, it just gives you the option to not let things control you, not let your bills control you, not let your job control you, not let your car control you. Oh man, I ain't got no gas, I can't go over there. You can easily make a decision and say, you know what, if I don't want to be here, I'm going over here. If I want to go over here, I can do that. If I want to give my mother a kidney out of my pocket, I can do that. I don't have to depend on Medicare and Obamacare and who cares and we care. We don't have to depend on nobody to give nothing to us when you've already got it yourself. And a lot of times we ask God to bless us, and a lot of times he's already blessed you, but you already spent it. And so in this season, it's about controlling yourself, controlling your family, controlling your destiny, and giving him all the honor and praise. But with that being said, we are looking for some people that want to work and do some stuff additional. We're giving out careers to people to get licensed in this profession and be able to do this on a part-time basis, sitting at home on the computer, 5 hours a week, and being able to really make more in that time frame than you would a 40-hour job, and be able to spend time with your family, fire your daycare, and be able to have your kids yourself and create memories with your spouse and do things that you always wanted to do, because we don't know how many more years we have ahead, because we already used a lot of them behind us. So today it's all about living and not just being alive, but embracing this that God has given us, which is the breath that's inside of us, to be able to live and have a purpose and understand that our destiny can't be based upon man, but it's got to be based upon what God says we are, because He is the potter and we are the clay. He can shape us, remake us, and reinvent us each and every time.
Preach,
So
preach.
do you have to have a high school diploma? Do you have to have a degree in finance? Do you have to have your bachelor's? You have to have those things.
You do not have to have any of that. I don't have a degree. I barely got my high school diploma. Oh, uh, you know, I can't spell Bob backwards. Just a lot of things that I've just been messed up in. I'm still messed up. I got in trouble for coloring outside the lines, all that stuff. So I got in trouble. So yeah, as long as you're 18 and over, if you have a background, as long as it's not dealing with finance, it could be a gun charge, it could be, whatever. And as long as it's in a certain period of time, we can give everybody an opportunity to work, because you do have to pass a, background and all that stuff, get licensed and all that stuff to do it. But it's very simple. A third grader can pass the test. I got an 80-year-old who's got her license. So, I mean, anybody can.
Wow. So, any final words for maybe somebody's feeling discouraged today? Any final words of encouragement?
Well, I'll just say this to everybody that's watching. If you don't have insurance, get some. And I'll share a story with you, because this is my second time around in the life insurance industry. But in the early 2000s, I had an opportunity to meet with a family to insure them. And guess what? The lady did not want to get insurance because she felt like she didn't want to stop smoking to insure her son. And I left there. I left there puzzled, thinking like she didn't want to, like let go a pack of cigarettes to insure her son. And her son winded up dying that weekend. He winded up getting shot in Rochester Park. And she called me screaming. Nothing I can do now because you don't have insurance. Did I feel bad for her? Yeah. But now, like he was saying earlier about the GoFundMe's and having these fish fries and, calling people, like this year alone, I've donated several $100s to Golden Gate for families that, didn't have their loved ones insured. So, that's all I will leave with you. Insurance is not high. Like I made a post the other day about the brokest people having iPhones, Jordans, and going out to eat crab legs, I think. But y'all, we got to get some insurance. Insurance is not that expensive. I waste $50 almost a day eating out on food that I don't like. So, one of those $50 could have went on some insurance for you and your family. So that's what I want to encourage you all to just, get some life insurance and get for real about your finances.
Pastor Rashawn?
Yes, if I were to leave some final remarks, share this video as much as you can with everybody that you know. This is an amazing show and an amazing leader, Elder Sheila Black. We commend her for giving us the platform to get out here and reach the community and teach the community from all over. Looking forward to many more to come on different subjects and topics. And man, everybody just understand that, hey, it's not too late to start all over again. And the Bible says it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's all about how many times you can get back up again. And so we appreciate you for having us on this call.
Absolutely. 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 So I don't know, maybe we need to have something else. We can have like a workshop or something. Maybe we need to take it a step further to reach more people. So we can talk about that offline, but this has really been a great show. Did anyone have any questions? I do see comments, hand claps. This is great information. Yes, Lord, about having the workshop. Did anybody have any questions? If you do, if you're watching on demand, go ahead and type those questions in the chat. We will definitely get back with you with answers to your questions. And again, share, and tag. There's somebody out there that need to hear this information. I know I needed to hear it tonight. And I am so glad that God afforded us this opportunity to talk. So, Pastor Rashawn, I'm going to ask that you would give us a closing prayer for the people that are listening.
Yes. Dear Lord, gracious God, Heavenly Father, we thank you today for all that you have done, all that you're doing, and all that you're about to do for us. We thank you, Spirit, for touching us in places that we never thought before, that you'd be able to ease the pain that we feel, for that we know that you're still with us, regardless of where we are, the setting. You're there from the beginning to the ending. Touch each and everybody in their mind so they can be free to receive the information they need to change their life, change their family, and the value of their last name. We ask that people are healed. We ask that people are delivered. We pray that people are set free, for that you are freeing people each and every day, and that we can stay free, not just go back, but stay free. And we ask for people with traveling grace. We ask that that funeral has been canceled, that hospital emergency has been canceled, that sickness that's coming upon their body is turned the other way. We reverse the curse. We touch the people right now, that your anointing shall fall upon the people's face from the head down to the sole of their feet. God, we ask you that you be able to touch them, reach them, revive them, and be able to hold them tight. For that, God, we don't let go of your hand, that you pull us out of every situation and rescue us from ourselves, from the enemy, and indoctrinating us into your path to allow us to be what you want us to be. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this great leader, amazing person that allows us to be on this podcast. We thank you for Felicia for bridging the gap together. And we thank you for each and every their families. Bless them spiritually, mentally, and financially right now. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, this has been a great show. Make sure and share, everyone. And this has been Touching You Talk Show. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
You. Good night. Hey.